would you rather win the Premier League and, let's make a good fist of the Champions League, say like get to quarters or semi-finals or whatever, or win the Champions League and, maybe like near heartbreak in the Premier League second?
Now,
Arsenal win it.
Oh, that's made it worse. I want Liverpool to win the Champions League next year because I think it'd be amazing for Arne Slot to be a Premier League and Champions League winner. So I will still go for the Champions League. I think he's already this wonderful. I always say the Premier League should be first, and I've always said that. But I think if Arne Slot can win the Premier League and then follow up next year with the Champions League, he very much isn't Jurgen Klopp's. He's done it his own way. I think some people are still saying, "Oh, well, he won it with Klopp's team, and the league was lucky." If you then go win the Champions League with players that you've signed and done it your way, you're on that pedestal of great Liverpool managers. So I think I would pick the Champions League. Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking up the last time that Liverpool defended a trophy because I heard the stat a few weeks ago and I can't remember it. We haven't done it since the 80s. Like, Liverpool need to win the title again next season for me.
Yeah, fair.
Hang on, let me finish. I think Arne Slot will have done something that Jurgen wasn't able to do as well. I think that's a massive thing for him. I think Liverpool need to get back to being the best team in this country first and foremost. Everybody knows that the best team in Europe doesn't always win it, and we can all make our peace with that. But the best team in the country always wins the league, and Liverpool need to be doing that week in, week out, season in, season out. So for me, it's that. What do I think the best trophy to win is, and what the most enjoyable? Of course, it's all big-ish. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that the next season and the season after, Liverpool need to be winning the Premier League, and we need to go to win doubles. We need to go to win trebles. It's what Manchester City have been able to do. That's where we need to strive for, and you can only do doubles and trebles by winning the bloody Premier League.
You just can't guarantee that you're going to win. You can't guarantee you're going to win anything, but like, you can't base your season on winning the Champions League because, again,
you can get knocked out on pens against a really good side.
Exactly.
They were just in brilliant form.
Exactly. But for me, the league is the priority. I think Champions League, I'm not saying don't prioritise the Champions League, by the way. I think he'll prioritise both. I just think he will. And I think we'll have a better squad and more capable of doing that. But I want 21 leagues. More than anything else. I think eventually we'll get 7 European Cups and 8 European Cups and all that kind of stuff. But for me, priority number one is going above Manchester United, clear on league titles. And I think
especially while they're nowhere near it.
City are going to be a mess next season. Arsenal can get better, but Arsenal could just do a fucking Brendan Rodgers Leicester and go, this is just too many times and we've done this and it can all fall apart. It's all or nothing for Arsenal next season, So
I've got a new series.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see what magician Arteta pulls out
now. But yeah, I think there's an opportunity for us to win a couple of 2 or 3 leagues here.
Yeah, you might be right.
And I, as we've proven, you can win European trophies even when you're not great. So yeah, the league for me. But ultimately, the real answer is both.
Isn't it great that we're in a position where this is a realistic conversation? We're back to a point where Liverpool should be the favourites to win the Premier League next year. I'm guessing City might end up because Bucky's terrified of them, and they should be very high up on the list of Champions League.
Could have a points deduction next season, City, or anything, couldn't they?
Yeah, you never know.
Well, that's what I mean about the league, is that your bread and butter should be hoovering up as many league titles in the coming years, because ultimately the European Cup is such a rare thing that your career isn't. You need to win. You need to have it on your books, I think.
You need to win one.
But the league is the bread and butter. I want our players to be sat there going, won 3 league titles with Liverpool, an FA Cup, 2 League Cups, and a Europe.
I think they're great. But I think they're great to win more than 1 European Cup, though.
Yeah. And
I think Van Dijk and Salah, they already are great. But if they can end their Liverpool time with 2 leagues and 2 European Cups, I think that just is. There's something about that.
But sometimes the European Cup makes the greats as well, and other times they're just great without them.
Yeah.
Look, let's be honest. Carvajal is a great because he's won 5 or 6 European Cups, not because of what he did on the football field week in, week out. Yeah. And I think that sometimes distorts viewpoints, doesn't it?
Real Madrid distort everything, I think. So I'm just kind of getting it up.
Did you see Luka Modric the other day when he retired and he had like the whole trophy cabinet, everything he'd won, it was like 25 trophies around him.
Modric has won the Champions League 6 times. Yeah. Toni Kroos, Nacho, Dani Carvajal, and a guy called Paco Gento, who played it for Real Madrid presumably in the early days. They're on 6, but it's honestly it's just fucking Real Madrid. And then you've got Maldini's and Costa Curta's from the AC Milan team. But this is, it's dominated
Nacho's
by...
not a fucking football great.
Yeah.
And he's won how many? Did
Yeah,
you say?
exactly. It's dominated by players who play for Real Madrid. Now, I agree. It would be nicer to go through a little era of dominance in Europe. But to your point, I'm not going to say no to any of that.
I think you ask Mo Salah this question, he'll pick the Champions League.
Of course he will. Of course he's not from this country.
Yeah. And I think if you ask most of the players, and I think
of course they will,
and the manager,
of course they will,
because they've done that. I think if you ask Arne Slot now, I can guarantee you one.
I don't know what the manager
he's talking bread and butter.
I think the manager will pick the Champions League.
I think you've got to remember that managers, yes, that, but to the point again, it's too hard to gamble on that stuff. The Champions League should be seen as an almost like an added bonus. Top. Yeah, exactly. That's not, if Slot wants to build a legacy, then he needs to be the one who puts his foot to the floor now and gets us ahead of Man City. Exactly. That's the best way for him to have a proper legacy. It's only Real Madrid really that think about things in terms of multiple European Cups because they just can. No other team can do that. I mean, Barcelona have got as many as us now, or as one less than us. And that's, we see Barcelona as being one of the true, elites of football. Look
at the way Ferguson is thought of in England.
And he's won 2 European Cups.
He's won 2. Yeah. But 13 league titles.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's legacy. Yeah. And I didn't need 7 European Cups to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. I really enjoyed that, guys. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for joining us across the season reviews this year. It has been a wonderful time supporting a wonderful football club.